Hello! Today we're going to read a story called Chrysanthemum by Kevin Hanks. Chrysanthemum, what a beautiful name. The day she was born was the happiest day in her parents' lives. She's perfect, said her mother. Absolutely, said her father. And she was. She was absolutely perfect. What a beautiful little mouse she is. Oh, so peaceful. Her name must be everything that she is, said her mother. Her name must be absolutely perfect, said her father. And it was. Chrysanthemum. Her parents named her Chrysanthemum. Do you know anybody named Chrysanthemum? I don't. Chrysanthemum grew and grew. And when she was old enough to appreciate it, Chrysanthemum loved her name. Do you like that name, Chrysanthemum? I do. She loved the way it sounded when her mother woke her up. She loved the way it sounded when her father called her for dinner. She loved the way it sounded when she whispered it to herself in the bathroom mirror. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Do you like the way your name sounds? I hope so. Chrysanthemum loved the way her name looked when it was written with ink on an envelope. She loved the way it looked when it was written with icing on her birthday cake. And she loved the way it looked when she wrote it herself with her fat orange crayon. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. She sure does love her name. Chrysanthemum thought her name was absolutely perfect. And then she started school. On the first day, Chrysanthemum wore her sunniest dress and her brightest smile. She ran all the way. Hooray, said Chrysanthemum. School! She sounds excited. But when Mrs. Chud took roll call, everyone giggled upon hearing Chrysanthemum's name. Why do you think they giggled at her? Everyone giggling at her. It's so long, said Joe. It doesn't even fit on your name tag, said Rita, pointing. I'm named after my grandmother, said Victoria. You're named after a flower. Is that nice to say? A flower's beautiful. Chrysanthemum wilted. That means she got a little down. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. Poor Chrysanthemum. The rest of the day was not much better. During nap time, Victoria raised her hand and informed Mrs. Chud that Chrysanthemum's name was spelled with 13 letters. That's exactly half as many as there are in the entire alphabet, Victoria explained. Thank you for sharing that with us, Victoria. Now put your head down. That Victoria, she's a meanie. If I had a name like yours, I'd change it, Victoria said as the students lined up to go home. I wish I could, I thought Chrysanthemum miserably. Welcome home, said her mother. Welcome home, said her father. School is no place for me, said Chrysanthemum. My name is too long. It doesn't even fit on my name tag. And I'm named after a flower. Oh, pish posh, said her mother. Your name is beautiful and precious and priceless and fascinating and winsome, said her father. It's everything that you are. said her mother. Absolutely perfect. Chrysanthemum felt much better after her favorite dinner, macaroni and cheese, with ketchup, but she likes it, and an evening filled with hugs and kisses and a game. That night, Chrysanthemum dreamed that her name was Jane. It was an extremely pleasant dream. The next morning, Chrysanthemum wore her most comfortable jumper. She walked to school as slowly as she could. She dragged her feet in the dirt. Chrysanthemum, 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 she wrote. She even looks like a flower, said Victoria as Chrysanthemum entered the playground. Let's pick her, said Rita, pointing. Let's smell her, said Joe. Chrysanthemum wilted. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. The rest of the day was not much better. During nap time, Victoria raised her hand and said, "A chrysanthemum is a flower and it lives in the garden with worms and dirty other things." "Thank you for sharing that with us, Victoria. Now put your head down," said Mrs. Chudd. "I just can't believe your name," Victoria said as the students lined up to go home. "Neither can I," thought Chrysanthemum miserable. So every day, Victoria is making Chrysanthemum feel bad about her name. "Welcome home," said her mother. "Welcome home," said her father. "School is no place for me," said Chrysanthemum. "They said I even look like a flower." "Oh, pish posh," said her mother. "They're just jealous of your beautiful name." Who wouldn't be jealous of a name like yours? After all, it is absolutely perfect. Chrysanthemum felt a little better after her favorite dessert, chocolate cake with buttercream frosting, and another evening filled with hugs and kisses. That night, Chrysanthemum dreamed that she really was a chrysanthemum. She sprouted leaves and petals, and Victoria picked and plucked her. It was the worst nightmare of Chrysanthemum's life. Chrysanthemum wore her outfit with 7 pockets the next morning. She loaded the pockets with her most prized possessions and her good luck charms. Chrysanthemum took the longest route possible to school. She stopped to stare at every flower. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. That morning, the students were introduced to Mrs. Twinkle, the music teacher. Her voice was a dream, and so was everything else about her. The students were speechless. They thought Mrs. Twinkle was an indescribable wonder. They went out of their way to make a nice impression. Mrs. Twinkle led the students in song. Then she assigned roles for the class. Victoria was the fairy queen. Rita was chosen as the spiffy butterfly. Joe was the pixie messenger, and Chrysanthemum was the daisy. "Chrysanthemum's a daisy, chrysanthemum's a daisy." All the kids laughed at her. She was upset again. "What's so funny?" said Mrs. Twinkle. "Chrysanthemum," they said. "Her name is so long. She's named after a flower." "My name is long," said Mrs. Twinkle. "Is it?" said Joe. "My name wouldn't fit on a name tag. And I'm named after a flower too." "Yes," said Mrs. Twinkle. "Yes, my name is Delphinium, Delphinium Twinkle. And if my baby is a girl, I'm considering Chrysanthemum as a name. I think it's absolutely perfect." Chrysanthemum didn't believe her ears. She blushed, she gleamed, she bloomed. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Joe, Rita, and Victoria looked at Chrysanthemum longingly. Call me Marigold, said Joe. I'm Carnation, said Rita. My name's Lily of the Valley, said Victoria. Chrysanthemum did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She knew it was. The end.